Quick disclaimer before the video begins. There is very minimal cuts in this video, so there are a lot of pauses between when I talk. So bear with me on that. It's a long one. That was the best way that I could show the world, and instead of skipping it as I talk. Enjoy. What's up, guys? It's Nile, and welcome to my city world. So this is a city that I started a few years ago and just kept working on for the past, I guess it was 3 years, 4 years maybe. Not very consistently, just coming on, building random things here and there. And this was far before I made YouTube videos, so I didn't have a schedule and I didn't have any kind of drive. So I would just get on and just experiment and just do random things. Just recently though, I have moved on to the creative world I started the Nile house building series with. And that I potentially may turn into a city one day. But for now, we're starting with houses on that world. I think it was on my yacht video, I got a request to tour this world. I can't remember exactly who asked that, but I was like, yeah, sure, I'll definitely do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tour this, and I'm going to show y'all what I like about this world and what I don't like about it, and why I've moved on to a different world. So we're going to be starting on the left side of the world, where there's not a ton of infrastructure. That's going to be starting with this house because it's the farthest in this direction. Farthest structure in this direction, at least. And I'm going to try and not spend too much time on each build so this video doesn't last forever. But this right here is one of the biggest houses I've created. Well, at least biggest in the scale. Because if I built a house to the scale that I do now, in this size, it would just be ridiculous and it would take me probably forever. But this house, it was actually a model of a house I built over there, but I just put 3 of them next to each other and combined it into one house. And I love how this house looks. It's so excessive, but I think it's great. And I never really finished it. That's how this whole world is. It's made up of so many unfinished projects. Nothing is basically has interior for the most part. But see, so this was the front over here. A very odd design, but it was really cool. And then I planned to have a huge swimming pool over here with this lake thing. But that never happened. So I don't need to touch on this too long really, but basically originally this was just one big peninsula and there was a mountain over there where those vineyards are. And then this lake connected to that ocean thing. But what I did is I put the house in the middle of the water and just made it appear that this was a pond and that was something else. But this is the house that I considered my house on the world, and that's just because I was very proud of it, of the whole landscape and everything. This little section over here is a very not talked about area. This is where I let some friends on the world, and they built some things over here. I just let them do what they wanted to. I was going to expand the city in this direction at one point, so I began burning down that house and starting to clear stuff out, and then I stopped playing on the world. So now there's just struggling buildings over here. All right, so back over here, around this little pond right here, lake thing, I centered really nice houses around it because I wanted it to be an exclusive community that all lived on this lake. So this house was just a little experimental house that I don't even know why I built this or where I got the inspiration to build this. I think I really just wanted to work on landscaping. So that's why I did a very unique backyard that's kind of almost like a Beverly Hills kind of mansion kind of style. I don't know. But so there's this house, but I do like how it turned out. It's definitely a little odd. Especially these columns. I really like that column design. And then the house next to this, I modeled after this house. So this house was built second. And I also am a huge fan of this house. It definitely has a color scheme, though, that makes it look like a, haunted mansion thing. But it is just a great looking house. Cool design. However, I'm not really sure what I was thinking with this part. It kind of bumps out and it looks kind of odd, but nevertheless, it's still a cool house. And then finally, we have this massive, massive modern mansion. I love this house. It's so sick, but it is way too big. Just look at the dock over here. This thing's just big in itself. And then you walk up there and there's like, for example, like it's so big that you get your own little ecological room in here because I didn't know what to put in here. So I was like, yeah, that'll be cool. You got a skylight, that's a pool, just like unnecessary amount of rooms. There's an indoor pool as well over here. Huge kitchen, which could have gotten bigger because you could just dig into the mountain as much as possible. There was a bowling alley that I was putting in it. And the list just goes on. There's a hot tub up there. It's huge. Like, it really is. And the cool thing is there used to be actually like a valley right there, and I covered it up with a house. And the only way that you were supposed to enter this house was through a helicopter pad. Over here we have one of my first lake house mansion things I built. And this was the first time I put an indoor pool in a house. And I believe it's over here. Yeah, right there. But it's a really nice house. It's definitely I wouldn't build really houses in these designs anymore. Just because like there's no attention to detail really. Like it's just very plain. However, at the same time, it adds to like a modern kind of feel, like if it's a modern cabin. But definitely there's been some improvements in my building throughout the years. And I would say when I built that White House and this house is when my building started changing a lot. Now this house was built far after these two. Like that was like the first house on this world. And then this was much later, and so are both of those. Speaking of, let's move on way over here. So this is my cabin mansion amazing house. This is like one of the most recent houses I built on this world, I believe. Yeah, so right before I stopped building on this world, this is one of the houses I made. And you can definitely tell how the landscaping and everything has changed a lot on this house versus the other one. But this is such a cool design for a house. Like I was really happy with how this house turned out. Like with this little bridge gap right here to where you can just go under. And I would make a tour of this house. However, the interior is not at all anything worth showing. No offense to my friend who furnished it. But as usual, we have the tennis court over here, a pool, a very plain pool, and then a nice little hot tub, which is cool. That's a little cabin that I just felt like building one day, and then I gave it to somebody on the world because like we have like a little economy, so I just gave it to them. And then they started to put like a pool thing here. I can't remember who that was though. Okay, so now we're starting to enter the city. The city area is just a bundle of lots of houses, and I won't be going over all of them. But at one point in the world's timeline, since we had an economy, I paid people to make skyscrapers. So they'd make a skyscraper and I'd pay them a certain amount. And that's how we got all these skyscrapers while I was doing other things. So let's see. I built this one right here. And then I built that gray one and that white one and that other white one. And that white one in the distance. But I didn't build like any of these. These were all my friends that I paid to do. Or theoretically paid. And then I built this modern mansion down here. And this was the first house I built on this world, actually. This one right here. Like nothing was here, and I built this. And it is rough. Let's just say that. It's got a really cool pool and everything. But then the house itself is just a mess. It's just a mess. Like, look how small it is. I don't know. But yeah, there's this modern place, and then my friends built those modern places. They're really cool little spots. Man, there's such a history of this. I wish I could, like, explain everything, because, I mean, there is so much in this world. Like, for example, this was the old bank. As you can see, I've recently blocked it off. But you could go in here, go down these stairs. At one point, we had a redstone vault right here with a combination. You would go in here, and you could keep money. Yeah, like, here's my friends' names. You could keep money, like, with these boxes, and you could level up your tier of box for how much money you had. So, like, you started off with one of these, and then you could pay for a more expensive one that, like, opened and closed, except it's broken now. And then you could go in here, And this was like a fancy lounge that the pretty rich people had. They could have those. And then, of course, I had the one where you would go down the elevator. And it was never finished, but you would come down and there was a plan to be like a restaurant, a bar, just everything lounge, which is so funny because it's a bank. So why would you ever like have all that? But it was fun and definitely don't regret it at all, even though we never really finished it. All right, now we're going to talk about my skyscraper. So this is my first skyscraper that I ever built. Well, legitimate skyscraper I ever built. The other ones, we're just not going to talk about those. And man, I love this thing. Look at that little logo. It's like a bunny. So yeah, there's a lot missing on the inside. But at one point, this elevator was working, and you could fly up, or you could ride up on the elevator. It's not working anymore, but you could ride up on the elevator, and then you could go to the first penthouse suite, which it's just like 3 stories, really nice. I built this for my friend originally because he wanted one up here, and he paid me to do that. That's how like the whole world worked. But yeah, like, could you imagine having this in real life? Like, stare off. Look at that view. And then we would go up one, and then this was mine, the one I owned. And it's much smaller, but it's a little more like ordered, I guess. Except this is the master bedroom, 2 different stories. But then the best part about this one was the fact that you could go to the top story, and then you actually had the penthouse with the pool on the top, and you could chill up here, and best view in the place. Alright, so the yacht, most of y'all know about because that video got a lot of support. Built this, I think, right after I built that mansion right there. Built the yacht. Awesome place. Definitely probably my best work in Minecraft. Like, I'm still kind of confused on how I was able to do this. And I want to do it again soon. And it will happen soon. So stay tuned for that. But that one definitely took me a long time to build. And I just wanted to make a statement. Because when I first started the world, I had a lot of people playing on the world. And I was like, I need to have the biggest thing on this world to flex. So that's why I built it. So then we've got this row of mansions here. These were, let's see, this one I built for a friend, this one I built to sell, and that one I built to sell. At the time, I was just really wanting to get like buildings up on the front right here. These should have been skyscrapers, but I really like how these houses turned out, especially this one. It looks like your Miami kind of like waterfront mansion. And it also had a pool with a bar on the 2nd story. Really, I always like to try and put something odd in a house. And as you can see, I did that a few times with multiple of these. Behind those, we have the 2nd skyscraper. There's nothing in this skyscraper. I tried to sell it multiple times. Didn't ever happen. These are just 2 fillers. I just built these really quick just to be a filler for the plot. And so nobody would build a skyscraper here. Because, okay, here's my intention. I was building this mansion right here, which obviously is not complete because it is just trashed. But this house has an amazing view. Like, that's a perfect view. And I was like, I cannot have one of my friends coming here and putting a skyscraper like here. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to build 2 really small modern houses so that I can keep the view for that house. Over here we have a park. That's more of a space filler. And then we got this nice little, well, not little, but this is one of my newer skyscrapers. And as you can see, it actually has like walls and stuff on the inside, which never happened. And there's even like a lobby. Oh yeah, you could buy the whole building for 1.2 million. But it's a nice building, and I'm really ready to create buildings like this again at some point in my new world. Over here we got a hotel that I built. this hotel, ooh, it's awesome. I just really liked how different it was. Like, it's got an L shape. It's on this little unique area. It's not like just a flat plot. And definitely a cool build. I built this building right after I built that one. So I did the same kind of interior, except it was just hotel room designs. Behind this, we got the strip. And here we have just a lot of buildings constructed to fill up the city. This was going to be the new part of the city that was going to be much cleaner than the old part over there. And I don't know if you can see this, but you might notice that there's like two different kind of like buildings mixed in here. That was actually a world edit issue. Well, it's not world edit because I'm on Xbox, but I was using commands to copy and paste a structure, and I accidentally placed it in the wrong location. So now there's two sets of buildings because I really didn't want to like destroy and rebuild all that. So that's just chilling there now. Fun fact. And then this is all pretty new. This was more recent stuff since before I stopped playing on the world. This was pretty close to that time. I built this house. I built this office building, which I also did a tour on. And it's got fully furnished interior, which took me a long time because never done that before. On a skyscraper, that is. And then you got, your townhouses and other buildings along here with a little canal. This is a building my friend Henry built. It's a bank design. And he had like all kinds of stuff on the inside. There was like lounges for the rich people, like our old bank. You can't tell there. But it was being furnished when we stopped playing. These two houses right here are pretty much spot fillers. We were actually going to replace these with skyscrapers. Along with that one. We'll get to the stadium in a second. Over here we had a marina, a small little marina. This was the original mansion that I modeled the huge one over there after. And just duplicated it next to each other. That was what that was modeled after. Here we have these two really odd little modern homes I built. I really like this one. Like, it's just a nice, small, compact design, and I like the location. And I was gonna make a tutorial on this, but I forgot how to build it. And I tried. Like, I literally recorded it and kept forgetting, and I was just like, okay, this is not happening. Same thing over here with this. This is another old, really, really old house that my friend built, and I just started building stuff around it. And there used to be a mountain here, I forgot to mention, and I ended up destroying that and making way for the city. And I think there's an underground cave over here somewhere. Oh yeah, here it is. And it's really here. It's really cool because you can see like the way everything was before. Yeah, so there used to be a river there, and then I built this wall. There was a whole, so all this is built on top of like canyons and stuff. So just, if you're building a city, terraform everything and don't follow the normal Minecraft terrain because it sucks. And because that's how I basically did this whole world. All this was, I flattened all this, and then this hill actually wasn't even here. So if I fly down right here and destroy this block, it is just hollow. And it's just, you can see there's a lot of layers to this. So that was the original valley. And then I built on top of that, and then I built the hill on top of that to add more terrain. There's a lot of history. I'm talking, like, this world, it lasted a long time, and it was a good one. But I'll explain later why I stopped building on it. Alright, so now we got the stadium. The stadium is huge. Way bigger than it should have been. Actually, no, maybe not even as big as it should have been, but it was large, and I hated building it like every second. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I enjoy building a lot of things, but this was not one of them. And I didn't even finish the box seats and stuff. Like, they were supposed to be. I was actually going to do the interior, and I got so burnt out on this build that I was like, all right, we're stopping. But another one of my favorite like creations, because the curves on this and stuff were just, Like at the time that I built this, I had no clue what I was doing, and I have no idea to this day how I actually made it look like a stadium. But the interior was going to be this really cool lobby where you could go all around. And yeah, it's awesome. This is the aquarium. I just realized how much I'm lagging. I think that's because the fish. But yeah, so I made an aquarium, but it doubles as a hotel. And this is actually over here. This is the like fanciest suite you can get. It had a hot tub. God, it's lagging so bad. But it had a hot tub and stuff over on this lake. Okay, so now we're going to go to the new district, like the newest district. And that's over here on the other side of this stuff. So I touched on this little area. We'll go a little bit farther now. So this modern house right here was one my friend Henry built, and then I remodeled it. And so yeah, this one's been on the world for a long time, like a really long time. And it's got my first little yacht design here. I've always loved this yacht design. It's very small, but it's big enough to where it's like very spacious on the inside. Then over here, this is just a little house I saw driving around in real life and was like, I want to build something like that. So I built this house. It got its own peninsula, landscaping and everything. Across from here this is actually a Corrales house. I think it was a Corrales house or a Corrales tour. And my friend watched the video and was able to build the whole thing by using the video. I can't remember if the interior was copied as well. I think it was. Yeah. Or it's somewhat copied. I don't know if all of it was. And honestly, I'm kind of glad that this was done on the world because it gave me a sense of scale when I came, because I was building like this for a long time, and then when I saw how big the Corrales builds were, or the Corrales Tord builds, I was like, okay, I need to change my scale because these are not even close to the size of this. And then over here, we have a house that I copied from Google Images. Well, it was actually in Minecraft, so this one's not my like own work for the most part. I did like the fountain and stuff myself, and I did like the backyard, but the general design is off of the internet. I made this porch back here and stuff and freelanced the back, but the front, I just found it, I think. So right here, my Elgato actually crashed, but the way it crashes is it actually doesn't shut down for a second until like a few minutes later. So it stopped recording and then shut down. So there's a little bit missing right here in the video. And I didn't realize that until after I stopped recording. In this house, we were going to connect to the city, never got around to it. And since this is the edge of the world, you can start to see how we just started covering things up and making the city. So over here is the new section that we were beginning to build. I built this whole kind of cliff wall. It took me a very long time, and I did that with that one as well. But built this all the way around. And then my friend began to make another Corrales house and never finished it. So funny enough, she started from the inside and started building outward. So the inside's like insane. Remember, this is from like a Corrales video. But so the inside's here, but then you go to the outside and it's just absolutely nothing. Next to this is a Corrales house that I built. Well, I copied like the Corrales house. Speaking of, it looks really weird now that I look at it. But I copied this Corrales house and then I landscaped and put the forest around it. And I also put this pool that was not part of the house, and neither was this plane. But this is a Corrales tutorial plane. I wasn't very innovative with my own skills back in the day, so a lot of this stuff was just copied. But honestly, copying things, as long as you don't act like it's your work, is the best way to improve your building, no doubt. Because you figure out things that you would never do. Siri, stop listening. But you do things that you would never do otherwise. Since everyone thinks differently, it always helps to build other people's creations to see, because that's the only way to see how they built it. Now this over here was going to be my finest work. This was a neighborhood that I began creating. And I mean, I went all out. I made custom trees for this, and I have this gate here, and it was about to be amazing. Look, you got the keypad, you get in, drive down, and then you could buy these lots. It was this lot, that lot, that lot, and then there was 2 over there. And then you go across this bridge, and there's a few more lots. And this bridge, by the way, is a really detailed masterpiece. Like, this is... I honestly forgot this was on this world because I always stay on the other side so much. But yeah, I was gonna make some really cool houses here. Unfortunately, we never got around to doing that. But I currently have hopes of doing this sort of thing on my new world. The problem is I have to make these custom trees again, and that was just not fun. Like, I did the little ones and the big ones. The big ones look really cool, but the little ones... But all of it was going to be waterfront property, or I mean, not all of it, but most of it. And it's just, oh, it was going to be so cool. But now that leads into why I stopped building on this world. Basically, I stopped building on this world because I forgot to put roads in. Let me rephrase that. I didn't forget to put roads in, but I originally chose not to put roads in because that's what I always... There were multiple cities I tried to build before this, but this one was the one I stayed building on the longest. And it was because there were no roads, because I hated building roads so much. So, eventually I got to a point where I was like, I really wish I'd built roads. So that's why I put roads over here. I began doing it, and then I realized there's no way I can convert the whole city into having roads, so I just need to start over. So that's why I'm building on a new world now. And... now I'm uploading to YouTube so you can see the whole progress and everything of it because I'm really excited to see where it goes. But yeah, so that was my creative world. I hope y'all enjoyed. And go check out the Build With Me series. Got a playlist for that. And I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Got some really cool builds coming. And yeah, please like, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.